Hello there, and welcome to the channel. Yes, I know I'm in a very different location today, and the main reason I'm here has to do with why I set up the channel in the first place, and that is we're at Bitter Lake National Wildlife Refuge here just east of Roswell, and it's one of the first places I took John when he came here where he didn't know it was here and he loved it. So that's why I'm here today. And what I want to talk about is extracurricular activities, because extracurricular activities are very much an important part of teacher experience, and I want to advocate for them. Now, John and I both were very supportive of extracurricular activities and partook in them as teachers. Some of them are obligatory. For example, in most small high schools, every teacher is eventually going to have to be a class sponsor, like a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior sponsor. And you have to do that. And there's no increment, and you have to do it, and you should just try to make the best of it. The same way with duty assignments. Every school has limitations on its budget, and they need teachers to sometimes take up extra duty assignments, and they're required, they're part of the job. You just do them and do your best. But there are also other extracurricular activities like drama club, which I sponsored, and Close Up, which John sponsored. He took his students from Santa Rosa High to Washington, D.C. to meet their legislators. So those activities are very important. And here's what I have to say about them and why I want you to be encouraged to do them. Our father used to talk about this in terms of what the Marine Corps expressed as esprit de corps. In other words, you do something for the community because you are part of that community and you want it to be wonderful. It's an act of service. It's an act of support. And it's fine if you don't get an increment, and here's why. They don't own you. You're doing it in a sense of volunteerism, a sense of generosity with your time and your effort. You need to do your best work you can in the extracurricular, and you need to do it with enthusiasm. Now, you should probably choose to do an extracurricular that you feel comfortable with trying to attempt. And I'm going to give you one cautionary tale based on that. A friend of mine named John, who taught at one of the schools I taught at, one afternoon when he was a relatively young teacher, an unmarried man, and early 30s, he was walking by the principal's office after school, and a woman ran out of the office, either an administrative assistant or one of the counselors, and said, "We have to have a sponsor for the JV cheerleaders. Please, 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 will you do it? You just have to be there while they practice and attend a few little events like that." So John, being the sweet-spirited man that he was, said, "Sure, okay, fine." And they said, "Good! You'll need to go down and meet them at the shoe store today." So here's the thing. It's best, if you're going to do an extracurricular sponsorship, to have a partner, to have a friend who's going to share that responsibility with you, whether they're officially named or just a support network friend to do it. And here's why. So John goes to the shoe store with these JV girls, 14 and 15-year-old girls. And what they have to do that day at the shoe store is pick the shoe the squad is going to wear while they cheer. So 3 hours later, and buckets of tears later, they go home undecided. John was so inexperienced with such groups of people and the way they were going to behave that he had no equipment with which to face that challenge. Now, for some of you, your reaction would be exactly what his was thereafter, ever after that year that he served as JV cheerleader sponsor. If you said cheerleader around John C., he would go, "Ugh," in a sort of remembered horror. If you were a more experienced person with that type of person, 14 and 15-year-old indulgent, self-indulgent, and immature girls, you would have known to say, "Look, I'm going to give you 30 minutes. You guys either come to consistency or a shoe, or I'm going to pick it and I'm going to make sure I pick up the ugliest one that you all have to wear and start shopping in the ugly shoe section. So if he had known to do that, or if he'd had a friend there who could have helped him come up with that plan, it would have been great. So having a friend is really valuable in extracurricular sponsorship. So be thinking of that. If you're considering volunteering for an extracurricular activity or sponsorship, think about, do I have a friend who would like to do it with me, or who would be willing to kind of be my backup if I needed it? That's it for today. I'm going to talk more about that later on this week. But that's it for today. I hope you have a glorious day. And I hope you see me again, you gorgeous people. I'm not going to freak out here. You're gorgeous. Really, seriously, you're gorgeous.